Most millionaires in the UK didn't win the lottery, they didn't start the next Apple, and they definitely didn't make it all on Instagram. In fact, the most common path to £1 million of net worth might be sitting under your feet right now, your own home. But property is only half the story. Today, we're breaking down exactly how UK millionaires built their fortunes, what their money is made of, and how you can use the same playbook. I'm Matt, a chartered accountant, and I spend my life looking at real people's finances from everyday households to multi-million pound businesses. In this video, I'm going to show you the real data behind UK millionaires, just the actual numbers from official statistics and financial studies. First, what even is a millionaire? In UK data, the Office for National Statistics defines wealth as everything you own minus everything you owe. That includes property, so your home and any rental properties, private pensions, financial assets like ISAs, shares and savings, or physical assets like cars, jewelry, even art. According to the latest ONS Wealth and Assets survey, about 14% of households in Great Britain have total wealth above £1 million. But here's the thing, that includes pensions, which most people don't think about when they hear the word millionaire. And if you think millionaires are mostly young tech geniuses, you're going to be surprised when we look at the average millionaire's age. For the wealthiest households, not just the top 10%, but the £1 million club, wealth is built on 4 pillars. Number 1 is property. For most UK millionaires, the home is king. In high value areas like London and the South East, property can make up over half of total wealth. Many cross the £1 million mark simply by owning the same house for decades while prices climbed. The second is private pensions. This is a big one that people underestimate. Private pensions, especially the old defined benefit schemes, are worth hundreds of thousands when you calculate the income they'll pay out over a lifetime. For a lot of retirees, the pension alone is 400 to 500 grand in today's money. The third is financial assets. This is the ISAs, shares and savings accounts. For most £1 million households, it's not the biggest slice, but as the wealth climbs to £2 to £5 million, financial assets grow in importance. The fourth is physical assets like cars, jewelry, collectibles, usually the smallest share, but still counted. But here's where it gets interesting. The path to that first million looks very different from the path to £5 million or more. So let's break that down. Let's talk route 1, which is property plus time, the homeowner's million. So what's the most common route? Buying a home, paying it off and letting time do the heavy lifting. Let's say a couple bought a house in London in the mid-90s for £150,000. Today that same home might be worth 750k plus. Add in a decent pension and some savings and they're millionaires, without ever running a business or taking huge investment risks. Property wealth is heavily regional though. The southeast, southwest and east of England dominate the stats simply because house prices have been so high. Let's talk route 2, which is pensions, the retirement millionaire. So second, the pension millionaires. This is especially common in older professional households. A teacher and a civil servant, both with defined benefit pensions, might have pension entitlements worth £800,000 between them. Add their home and they're easily over £1 million. But what's the catch? You can't spend that pension lump tomorrow. It's locked until retirement, but it is still part of your net worth. Let's talk route 3, which is business and equity, which is the entrepreneur's million. At higher levels, say £3 million, £5 million, £10 million, you start to see a different pattern. Business ownership becomes a major factor. Whether it's a family business, company shares, or selling a startup, these fortunes aren't just slow and steady saving. They're about building and owning equity. Data from the Resolution Foundation shows that as you move up the wealth ladder, the share of wealth in property and pensions shrinks, and business and financial assets take over. So let's talk route 4, the inheritance, the wealth passed down. And then there's inheritance. For younger generations, it's becoming a bigger part of the millionaire story, but usually later in life. The Institute for Fiscal Studies says most people inherit in their early 60s, often from property-rich parents. That means it's more of a late life boost than a young person's starting fund. So historically in the UK, the first million often comes from property and pensions. Multi-million status usually needs business ownership or big financial portfolios. Inheritance is a growing factor, but mostly in later life. So let's smash a few stereotypes. The The first one being age. Most UK millionaires are in their 60s or early 70s. They've simply had more time to build wealth. Also, home ownership. Almost all are homeowners, and a huge chunk own them outright. Region is also important. Highest concentration in the southeast, then southwest, east of England, and London. London millionaires tend to have a much bigger chunk of wealth in property compared to other regions. So, lesson 1 is time is your biggest wealth multiplier. Most millionaires didn't get there in 5 years. It's about owning assets and letting decades of growth do the work. Lesson 2 is don't ignore pensions. Your pension is probably one of your biggest future assets. Treat it like an investment, not just a deduction from your payslip. Lesson 3 is leverage smartly. Most property millionaires used a mortgage, which is leverage, and paid it down while the asset grew. Lesson 4 is diversify if you want to go beyond £1 million. Once you've got the basics, home plus pension, building higher wealth usually means adding investments or a business. Lesson 5, inheritance is not a plan. If you get it, it is a bonus, but your financial future shouldn't rely on it. So now you know how millionaires in the UK actually built their fortunes. And it's not what social media gurus will have you believe. Whether it's property, pensions, business or investments, the key is owning assets that grow over time. Which path do you think is the most achievable for you? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe and share this with someone who thinks becoming a millionaire in the UK is impossible.